What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about things that I don't think will be at the PS5 event. So yesterday, we talked about some predictions, some things that were probably very likely and kind of ranked, in that order of what I think was going to happen. Now, this one, I want to kind of go in the reverse. There's a lot of things I think are going to be at this event. There's also a lot of things that I don't think are going to be at this event. Now, these are, by the way, just to really quickly say this, I'm not saying I don't want these things here. In fact, I actually want all of them. And some of these things I even put on this list to kind of jinx myself that hopefully they manage to appear there. So I'm hoping that plays out because I am wrong, somewhat often on this channel. So maybe this time, me saying this stuff, I'll also be wrong, and then they will appear. Now, really quickly, I want to say this. I want to promote my second channel. There's going to be a lot of videos up on this channel and on that channel in regards to the PS5. I'm going to make as many as possible over the next 4 or 5 days. I'm going to try and talk about literally everything that can be talked about at this event tonight. So if you guys would please check out that second channel, it'll be in the description below. Subscribe there. That would mean a lot to me. Again, there'll be videos there as well as here. There'll obviously be all different videos, but we'll be talking about the PS5 event over the next couple days. All right, so let's get into this. I'm going to start it with the thing that I think everybody has been talking about. I put it in the poll yesterday on the channel as well. I don't think Batman's going to be there. In fact, I'll even spread that out and say I don't think Warner Bros. Is going to be there at all. Now, again, hopefully I'm jinxing myself. Hopefully they end up being there, but I'm not going in tonight. So I'm recording this the day before, so it's gonna, if I say tomorrow at any point, I'm sorry. But today, right, because you guys are watching this today is the event, and everybody's super stoked. Obviously, the rumors and the leaks have been swirling about Batman, and this has happened before. What I think is important to note as well is, and I was a part of it too, right, because I talked about the Game Awards, all that stuff. I got swallowed into it. You gotta be careful with these things because I feel like a lot of times things will happen right before an event, and some things will definitely be true. I don't want to say, these things always turn out to be false, because a lot of times there are definitely lead-in things. I mean, there were the things yesterday, right, with new postings on Amazon UK of these new games. I mean, I'm sure over the next couple days, couple weeks, those games are going to be actually, we're going to find out what those games were. Right now, they're kind of just placeholder names for these games, but we know the companies. Things will end up happening. And so, yes, when rumors start to swirl and they kind of all build up, right, they all kind of crescendo, things sometimes do happen. Things also sometimes don't happen. And with Batman, it's the same old song and dance, right? I saw the major leak that came out yesterday talking about, basically just re-saying everything that's already been said, but saying that they'll announce it this month and go from there. I think they said one other new thing in there. Again, you got to be careful with these things because they're just kind of capitalizing off of this. I think it's possible. I don't think it's impossible. I really don't. I think it definitely could be there, but I am not expecting it. I'm not going to this PS5 reveal event expecting it. With that being said, there are going to be big games. There's going to be big things in general, and we can kind of again predict some of the things that are going to be there. I talked about a few of them yesterday, and obviously there's so many more, right? There's obviously a lot of things that can be announced. Blue Point games, we could maybe the Bloodborne thing, a lot of different stuff, but I really don't know if when you go third party, I don't know if you'll be doing something for Warner Bros. I feel like a game like Dying Light 2, maybe Resident Evil 8, maybe Cyberpunk. Now, Cyberpunk, maybe Watch Dogs, a Ubisoft game. I saw that bingo board going around, the Ubisoft game. I think Watch Dogs would probably be a good one that you show. So those are the kind of third party games I think. Do I think there'll be brand new third party games announced? It's possible, but I think it's the least likely. I think it's mainly going to be a lot of first party stuff, a lot of exclusives that are going to get announced for the first time. Less so, maybe the Call of Duty game, right? But games that you can kind of heavily link to Sony. Now, again, Warner Bros. Does have a history with Sony, right? Even with these Batman games and announcing them. So it's definitely not impossible, but I'm not expecting it. I'm not going in expecting Batman because I don't want to get crushed once. I mean, honestly, all of us as a community have been crushed 3, 4, 5, 6 times, right? I really don't want to do it again. Also with the mindset that it is coming. It is. I mean, the light is at the end of the tunnel. And if it doesn't happen today, it could it could happen next week. It could happen next month. It could happen in 2 months. But we are going to get that announcement, and the game is going to come out. I just don't think it's going to be at tonight's conference. So that's the first thing. And I kind of all grouped those in. The second thing is let's talk about some certain things in regards to the PS5. I don't think price, and I don't think release date. Now, what's interesting is I know I just said, again, when things kind of build up, when things kind of reach a peak, sometimes they can turn out to be real. Well, when it comes to the price, right? Yesterday there was that 2 terabyte version of the PS5 that made its way on Amazon. Somebody claimed that they were able to pre-order it. Now people are going back and forth. Is this real? Is this fake? But it gave the price, okay, in terms of pounds. So you convert that. So maybe the 1 terabyte would be the normal base version. Maybe it would be $450 US. Maybe it would be $500, somewhere in that range, right? Now again, we can maybe think that, and that could end up being true, by the way. That could very well end up being true, but I don't know if Sony's going to say it today, okay? Again, it's a waiting game, and but at the same time, here's what I will say. I've said this in the past. One of them is going to crack. Microsoft or Sony, one of them is going to announce it first. Obviously, they're not going to stand holding hands on stage and announcing both of their prices at the same time, but they're each waiting for each other, okay? The question is, how far are they willing to go? How long are they willing to go before one of them does it? Okay, so Sony is waiting for Microsoft to announce it so they can. Microsoft is waiting for Sony to announce it so they can. That is a tough game. We also know that technically the prices don't have to be set because a lot of the Intel chips, a lot of the stuff that are going inside of the consoles, their prices are not decided until August. So it's possible that these consoles don't get priced until August. Now again, does that mean they can't list a price right now and then eventually they'll find out in August if they either scammed us or if they actually lost the deal, right? If they actually charged us too much or if they actually undercharged us and they're losing money. I mean, I guess that could happen now. Does this happen closer to August? People are saying that. I don't know if that's going to end up happening. I just feel like with the way that Microsoft is going to do things monthly, with the way Sony is probably going to start doing things a lot more often, I just don't think that this is the time that they're going to come out and say, and it's $500, because especially if it's too high. Because think about that. If they come out in this whole thing, I mean, it's an amazing event, all this, all that, but then at the end they say the price, and then Microsoft beats it the next day. Microsoft is like, all right, well, that's what we were waiting for, so now Friday, let's just say the price, it's $450, and they beat them literally one day after. I don't know if that looks good. I don't know if that looks good at all on Sony, so maybe you don't do that because you really want to keep things just all blatantly positive for this event today, right? Because if you do the price, again, it can maybe get smeared later, but if you don't do the price, then there's really nothing negative to look at from this event. You know what I mean? So something like that. I also, again, and I said release date. I don't think they'll give the release date. I don't really know who's saying that they will. I'm just kind of throwing that out there. I think that's kind of obvious with the price. I think price and release date will probably be together. Again, I could very well be wrong, and maybe I will be. Maybe it will be announced tonight. But I think release date, that is also coming later. Could you pre-order it? Can you pre-order something that doesn't have a price? That's a big question, right? I feel like you kind of have to give us a price to pre-order it, because if you pre-order it thinking it's going to be $450 and then it ends up being $550, well, that's a whole lot more. I mean, it's $100, but that's a lot of money, and so I don't know if you could even end up doing that. So I don't think pre-orders would go available if they don't do a price. I mean, pre-orders can go if there's no release date, but again, I think the price is kind of holding that back. So I think, again, that kind of stuff maybe gets held back just in general. Maybe it comes out in a few weeks. Maybe they're going to wait for the next time Microsoft goes. Who knows? But obviously we'll find out if it doesn't happen tonight. And then the last thing, and this one I definitely put on there, honestly, to kind of jinx myself, is The Last of Us 2's multiplayer. And I kind of wanted to get creative. I kind of wanted to pick something that I think may be possible and then risk it by telling you I don't think it's going to be there. Because, well, here's the deal. I really do want this. I really want The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer to be there. I think when you're talking about the future PlayStation and the PlayStation 5, I mean, The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer is actually part of that, right? Because it's not coming at launch. It's probably coming in a while. Could it come out, and we've talked about this, right? When the PS5 comes out, do they do a Last of Us Part 2 PS5, like a new model for it, right? Like the updated version. Do they do that? Do they bundle? Is it like a Game of the Year definitive, whatever they want to call it? Does it come with The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer? And is that when they introduce The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer on the PS5, where it's like, okay, well, there's only going to be there's going to be a lot of games, but not in the grand scheme of things. There's not going to be that many games. And then multiplayer games, there's honestly honestly going to be even less of those, right? There just is. So to come out with and say, okay, hey, we have a Killzone game that was hidden, and that's going to have multiplayer. So there you go. There's one big one. And also, The Last of Us Part 2's multiplayer is going to launch with the PS5. Basically, I'm building the case for why it's, why something like this would be at this event. At the same time, I'm going to predict not, and the only reason is because it's not out yet. Tomorrow, the review scores come out. Next Friday, the game comes out. I feel like overall, they're going to probably want to wait to do the multiplayer for a couple, like, give The Last of Us some time to breathe, which I do think they will do. I honestly think they'll probably do it after Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima comes out maybe like late July, early August. They said they're going to do, or the rumor is they're doing an August state of play. Maybe there, right? Because you gave Ghost of Tsushima some time, you gave The Last of Us some time, and then you come out and say, okay, PS5 versions for both Ghost and The Last of Us Part 2, as well as let's show you the first glimpse of The Last of Us multiplayer launching this fall, or launching with the PS5. That's how I think they will do it. That I think makes a lot of sense. At the same time, I could argue, and you could argue, that it would also make sense to do it at the PS5 event. Say, hey, this game, people are like, I bet, I don't know, because you can't really say like people are loving it because the embargo isn't out yet. So you can say like it's the most anticipated game, like pre-orders are like the highest ever, comes out next Friday, and then we talked about multiplayer not being included but being a separate thing. Here's a sneak peek of it, something like that. I feel like it definitely could happen. In fact, I think out of these 4 things, or I guess however many you want to break these up into, but of all of these things, I think The Last of Us 2's multiplayer is actually most likely to be there. But again, I wanted to kind of take a risk and say that it wasn't. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think? What are some things that you think are going to be at this event? What are some things that you think are not going to be at this event? Let me know, and get ready, guys. This is going to be very, very exciting. I'm very excited for this. Make sure you're subscribed, bell icon turned on. Second channel, again, will be in the description below. There's going to be loads of videos. You're not going to get notifications for all of them over the next couple days. I assume a lot of videos are going to, because there'll be so many a day, you won't get notifications. But again, that's why the second channel, just keep refreshing it. I'll try and update everybody on Twitter and stuff, and we will just be, it's game on for this PS5 reveal event. Very, very exciting, and I hope to see you guys on those videos.